Hi, I'm Madison McGrath, and I'm a student at the University of South Florida, and today I'm going to be talking about self-care, mental health, health and wellness practices, and how all of those things can come together to make your life better. As someone who personally struggles with mental health issues, I have gone to the ends of the earth to find ways to deal and manage with it. And the thing that I think personally that works the best is self-care. A lot of people don't know what self-care is or don't want to give it the time of day because they think it's another thing they have to check off a list or get done, when in reality, self-care is about you and taking care of yourself. You know, a lot of people ask, what is self-care? How does self-care relate to mental health? Plus, I have some personal testimonials of real people who their lives have changed through self-care and how to incorporate self-care into your everyday life. Beginning with what is self-care and what are some techniques and practices of self-care. Self-care is providing adequate attention to your own psychological and emotional well-being, which is actually a direct quote from Sam Detkin. He's the author of the article, How Does Self-Care Affect Mental Health? And he has a long career in behavioral health with many achievements, including a master's degree in psychology and marriage and family therapy. So he knows what he's talking about. But again, self-care is taking care of yourself. It's paying attention to your own well-being and what you need. There's so many practices out there for self-care and health and wellness practices that are perfect ways to embody that. Some examples, I'm going to be talking about some examples from an article written by Lori Halliday. It's called 8 Transitional Holistic Wellness Practices to Achieve Well-Being. And she gives 8 specific examples of some more complex versions of self-care. These are health and wellness techniques that are a little bit more complex. There's definitely more easier ways to do it. But to begin, there's breath work, there's emotional freedom techniques, there's sound healing, energy healing, hypnotherapy, kinesiology, earth and grounding, and human-animal connection. So these are ways that actually have been proven to help other people in maintaining themselves and how they can take care of themselves. Some of my favorite ways of self-care are simple things like taking a bath or doing a face mask and taking care of my body. Yoga, meditation, exercise, getting your body moving does wonderful things for your mind, as well as eating nutritious foods and taking care of your body internally as well. One other thing that specifically helps me is productivity. I find if I plan and I'm productive and I have a lot going on, I feel so much better, and that's the best way to take care of myself. So a lot of people wonder, how does self-care relate to happiness? How does it help mental health? Where's the correlation between the two? Well, self-care relies on increased self-awareness, which can benefit people who are living with a mental illness. Practicing self-awareness can help you recognize patterns in your emotions, including events or situations that can trigger worsened symptoms. It can also help you recognize what activities or tasks are necessary for your well-being, soothe negative symptoms of a mental illness or stress, and simply bring you pleasure and relaxation. So that's actually from source 2, which I already mentioned is Sam Detkin. He's very credible, and I just thought that quote, that chunk of a quote, was a really good way to put into perspective how self-care can help your mental health. It's all about doing things for you and doing things that make you feel good and putting you at the center of your life. So naturally, those things would help you feel better. Those things would help your quality of life. They would improve those things. There are many, many testimonials out there of people who have taken on self-care and had a better life. There's one specific video on YouTube that I found from Erica Bronkhorst, and it's called How Self-Care Changed My Life, A Teacher's Journey. And she discusses how she began to feel burnout after being a teacher and how self-care really turned that around. And I can tell you from my personal experience, anytime I feel burnout with school or with working, self-care is the number one thing that makes me feel better. And I have tried so many different techniques and medications and therapies. I'm not saying those things don't work, because they do, but this is just something that is a little easier and more attainable for a lot of people. So final question is how to incorporate self-care into your life. A lot of people don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. You know, we already covered some tips and techniques, but where do you start? It's a good question. So for a lot of people who have a busy lifestyle, they feel like they can't take the time out of the day to do self-care. So what you can do is optimize your time. So if you have a drive to work or a lunch break, you can use that time to take a couple minutes to yourself and do something you enjoy, and that's perfect examples of way that you can optimize self-care into your everyday life. Some of those ideas that I got are from the source it's an article written by Tori Utley called 6 Ways to Incorporate Self-Care into Your Busy Startup Schedule. And she actually talked about using that time that you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get multiple things done. That's a great resource. If you can, go check it out. I really liked that article. Also, going back to the video from Erica Bronkhorst about being a teacher and self-care and how that changed her, she talked about it takes 60 consecutive repetitions to build a habit. So the most important thing with self-care and creating these new habits is to stick with it and create a routine out of it. So I hope that helped you guys a little bit, and I hope you guys kind of got some new ideas on ways to work on yourself and make yourself feel better. But yeah, thank you.